You open an app. Someone you went to school with just bought a house. Someone else is on a beach in Greece. Another person just got promoted. And before you can even stop yourself, you feel it. That quiet, uncomfortable pull. That invisible ruler that appears out of nowhere and starts measuring you against everyone else. You tell yourself to stop. You know it is pointless. You know their highlight reel is not the full picture. But the feeling does not care about what you know. It just keeps measuring. Here is what no one tells you. That feeling is not a flaw. It is not weakness. It is not something modern life invented. It is one of the oldest survival mechanisms your brain has ever built. And once you understand where it actually comes from, the way you feel right now will never make sense to you in quite the same way again. Your brain did not evolve in an office. It did not evolve in a city or a suburb or anywhere with a screen. It evolved in a small group. Researchers estimate that for the vast majority of human prehistory, your ancestors lived in bands of roughly 50 to 150 individuals. The anthropologist Robin Dunbar famously calculated that this number, now called Dunbar's number, reflects the upper cognitive limit of stable social relationships the human brain can track. 150 people, that was your entire world. And in that world, your position within the group was not abstract. It was not a matter of self-esteem, it was survival. If you ranked high, you got first access to food, you got better mates, you got protection, you got resources when resources were scarce. If you ranked low, you got the scraps, and sometimes you did not get anything at all. So your brain developed a continuous automatic monitoring system, a scanner that never turned off. It was always watching the people around you, always measuring, always asking, where do I stand? Am I gaining ground or losing it? Is my position secure? Should I be worried? This is what the psychologist Leon Festinger identified in 1954. He called it social comparison theory. His core insight was simple but devastating. Humans do not evaluate themselves in a vacuum. They evaluate themselves relative to others. Always. It is not optional. It is not something you choose to do. It is something your brain does automatically, the same way it regulates your breathing or blinks your eyes. Festinger found that people compare themselves most to others who are similar to them, not to billionaires, not to people in completely different circumstances, to the person one level above, the coworker with a slightly bigger title, the friend who seems to have their life slightly more together, the sibling who hit the milestones slightly faster. That gap, that small, agonizing gap just above your current position, is exactly where your ancient brain focuses its attention. Because in a group of 150 people, the person one rank above you was a direct, concrete threat, not a distant abstraction, a real specific rival who was eating slightly more, sleeping slightly safer, standing slightly higher in the eyes of the group. Your brain learned to watch that person obsessively, to notice their gains, to feel those gains as a signal, you need to act. That mechanism is still running, right now, in your body, every single day. The neuroscientist Hidehiko Takahashi conducted a study published in the journal Science in 2009 that found when people learn that others outperform them, a region of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex lights up. This is the same region that processes physical pain. Envy in the brain registers as pain, not metaphorically, literally. The brain treats being outranked the same way it treats being burned or cut. It is a signal that something is wrong, that your survival position is threatened. And then Takahashi found something even more revealing. When those same outperformed individuals later saw the superior rival fail, a different region activated, the ventral striatum, the brain's reward center. Schadenfreude, the pleasure felt at another's misfortune, is not a personality defect. It is your ancient brain receiving a status signal that says, threat neutralized, your rank is secure. This is uncomfortable to hear, but understanding it is the only way out. Now take that 150-person social world, take the brain built to monitor 150 people, and expose it to the internet. Suddenly you are not comparing yourself to 150 people, you are comparing yourself to millions. To the most successful, most photogenic, most accomplished versions of millions of different people, all compressed into a single scrollable feed, all broadcasting their peaks and hiding their valleys. Your brain cannot tell the difference. It was not built for this distinction. It sees a signal, someone above you in the hierarchy, and it does what it was always built to do.
Sonia
Lyubomirsky has spent
alarm.
decades studying what makes people unhappy, and her research identifies chronic upward social comparison as one of the most reliable predictors of misery. Not poverty, not illness, not failure, comparison. Specifically, the relentless comparison to people who appear to be above you. In study after study, people who habitually engage in upward social comparison report lower life satisfaction, higher rates of anxiety, lower self-esteem, and a persistent sense that no matter what they achieve, it is not enough. Not enough. That phrase. Notice how familiar it sounds. That is your 150-person brain trying to maintain rank in a world of 8 billion people. It is playing a game it was never built to win, with rules that did not exist when the game was designed. Here is something Festinger also found that almost no one talks about. Social comparison is not only destructive, it has a second form: downward comparison. When your brain measures you against someone worse off, the signal reverses. Rank feels secure, the threat recedes. You feel, however briefly, okay. This is why people gossip. It is why tabloids sell. It is why the misfortune of a public figure can produce a real physical sense of relief. It is not cruelty. It is an ancient status circuit doing what it was built to do. Reassessing the hierarchy, confirming your position, telling the alarm to stop firing. But here is what that circuit does not account for. When you knock someone else down in your mind, even for a second, even just to feel better, you are training the system to be more sensitive. You are reinforcing the idea that rank is what matters, that measurement is what matters, that you are only okay when someone else is worse off, and that system, once reinforced, demands more and more reassurance. The ancient world had a ceiling, 150 people. The comparisons had natural limits. You could be the best hunter in the band. You could be the most respected elder. You could reach the top of your visible hierarchy and feel genuine, lasting security. Your world has no ceiling. There is always someone richer. There is always someone better looking. There is always someone younger achieving what you have not achieved yet. The algorithm is very good at finding them and putting them in front of you because your reaction to them, your alarm, your envy, your engagement, is exactly what keeps you scrolling. The researcher Keith Payne, in his book The Broken Ladder, argues that what inequality really does to people is not just reduce their material conditions, it supercharges the comparison machine. The greater the visible gap between the top and the bottom of a hierarchy, the more the brain perceives constant threat, the more cortisol floods the body, the more the system stays in alarm mode. Chronic social comparison, Payne found, is physiologically identical to chronic stress. It suppresses immune function, it shortens sleep, it narrows thinking. You are not weak for feeling this. You are a brain built for a different world, running perfectly correct software in the wrong environment. So what do you do with that? Festinger's original theory contains one more piece that tends to get overlooked. Comparison is not just lateral and upward, it can also be temporal. You can compare yourself not to other people but to previous versions of yourself. Your brain can run the same monitoring program on a different target, who you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. This is the one form of social comparison the ancient system supports that does not produce a floor. There is no ceiling on who you can become. There is no rival who can take your growth from you. The brain does not automatically do this. It defaults to lateral and upward because in a 150-person group, that is what mattered. But you can teach it, deliberately, repeatedly. Every time you notice the ruler appearing and pointing outward, you can redirect it. Not to suppress the comparison. Your brain will not let you suppress it, but to choose the target, not them, you, yesterday. Tonight, you will probably open an app. Something will appear that triggers the ruler. The pull will happen before you can stop it because it was never under your conscious control to begin with. But for 1 second before the alarm fully fires, you will know something your ancestors did not. You will know exactly what is happening, exactly why, and exactly where it came from. That knowledge will not make the feeling disappear, but it will make you the first person in your lineage who gets to watch the ancient machine run understand every gear inside it, and choose what to do next. That is not a small thing. That is, in fact, the only lever you have ever had.